Hello and welcome to this board game life. My name is Mark, and I'm here to do a review of Nemesis Retaliation. And one of my dogs is eager to be on camera and say hi to everybody. He's like, pay attention to me. So, Nemesis Retaliation is the game that I have been able to play just last night, and I'm here to give you my thoughts and opinions and my review. So before I do ask that you please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell icon so you will not miss any new content. All right. So, what can I say about this game? Should I just set this in front of me? Can I just make sweet, loving caresses to this game? So, okay. Now that the weird part's out of the way, right? There's my review, right? This tells it all, right? Doesn't this kind of give you a hint? All right. So again, Nemesis Retaliation. It is coming out very soon to retail. It is arriving in backers' hands now. I got mine just recently and was able to get it to the table yesterday with my game group. This game is obviously coming out 2025. It's from Awakened Realms, and it's designed by Adam Kopinski. There is a ton of artists on this, and they have just done an amazing job. This game does play 1 to 5 people. The playtime is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. I will have a caveat that if it's your very first time playing and you're teaching new people, I would expect with a teach to go for at least 4 hours. So keep that in mind for your very first game if you've never played. This game is for ages 14 and up. Now, an overview of this is Nemesis Retaliation is the third installment of the Nemesis horror board game series. Like the first two, it is designed as a standalone game. This time, players take on the roles of highly trained Marines, entering the alien nest with strict orders and the most advanced tools available. But will they be well prepared enough to face the unrelenting horde that awaits them? In Nemesis Retaliation, players must survive against overwhelming odds and the possibility of betrayal at every step. Some of the new mechanics are a reworked health system, new character actions. There's a modular map system with special exploration cards, an item management track, and individual objectives allow for hidden traders. It's that maybe I don't know why that's listed as a new mechanic, because there's always been the ability for hidden traders, but they do have a mission task that is required for everyone to work towards. Otherwise, nobody can win. So they do have that plus your objective, but we'll talk about that more later. So kind of a quick rundown on how the game works. This is very basic, but during your turn, you're going to play some cards from your hand to take actions. Those actions can be those on the card, or you can discard cards to take other actions like moving, shooting, burst, fire, trade, etc. When you've completed your 2 actions, then the next player takes their turn and so forth until all players have no cards left and have to pass. Then the invaders take their turn by attacking the players, causing an event, and then developing the intruder bag for future horde deployments. This is a cooperative game. Until it's not. Everyone will share a mission task that must be completed for anyone to win. Plus, everyone will choose a private objective that they must also complete to win. This private objective might be the only one left alive. You may have to try to somehow assist in everyone dying except you to win. Or it could be something like just get some eggs out, or you might have to get mine last night was be the only player to have a data chip, or I forgot what it's called. It's like a data cube or a data core. Be the only one to have one of those. So, and you have to go to a certain room to get that. And where is that thing? What was it called? Regardless, I can't believe I almost said the other word. Regardless, Because what I was about to say is not even a word. Regardless, so it may not be an anti-other teammate objective, but you may have been dealt two. One of the players last night was be the only player left alive, or ensure that player number two, I think, didn't survive. So they had no nice objectives, and it's all random, so you never know. All right, so but completing those are not all it takes, as you must also survive and escape the facility. And just when you're like, oh, I'm safe, I've escaped, I met my goals, well, there's one last thing you got to do. You got to check for contamination. And now you got to look at all the contamination cards in your hand, and you better hope that you're not infected. Because if you are, then you die and you lose no matter what. Oh, it's that's like the quick, very brief rundown. This is a large game. All right, you can see this is the core box. I got a bunch of expansions and other things that you can buy, acrylic upgrades, all kinds of different things that this game, but the base core game is in a big box. It does fit in the Calyx, but it is like, it'll fit the perfect square if you want to set it up and display it, or it will sit sideways. And there's cool artwork on both sides, so you can kind of pick which artwork you prefer to be, or you can go that way. They got, like I said, there's like 4 different pictures, so it's really cool. You can change up how it's displayed. All right, so there's a lot that comes in this game, and I'm just going to try to give the core game rundown. If I believe I've got this correct, I went and double checked off their site. So this should be the core, what's in the base game, and then if you have any additional extra stuff, then you can upgrade some of the stuff. But essentially, there's going to be what they call the intruders. I will call them intruders a lot. I think the intruders was the name for the original game, and then they had different names because there were different type of alien that you're fighting. So in here, they're called Primeblood. The Primeblood is who you're fighting. There's over 50 Primeblood miniatures. In the base game, you get 5 character standees, but if you have the upgraded deluxe edition, there's miniatures as well. There's a robot miniature. There's 5 dual layer player boards. You'll get 10 plus character tiles, 20 plus room tiles, 40 plus corridor tiles. There's over 180 standard cards, over 160 small cards. There's over 80 plastic markers, 5 plastic card holders. There's over 140 cardboard tokens. There is an intruder bag. You will get 6 dice, 5 rubber rings that will be you put around your miniatures if you have minis for your color. There is the dreaded scanner card to check your contamination cards to see if you're infected, and a couple of help sheets, and of course a really nice rule book. The rule book is 40 pages long. Let me get this on. I got I'm taking up my reviews, got most of my screen, so my camera is like a little weird. I got a little kind of condensed window I'm looking at. I know I have more space, but I can't see if you can see this. You might be able to see it. I can't see that on the screen. So if I'm putting a lot of stuff by my face, that's why. All right. So anyways, as for colorblind issues, we didn't find anything. Everything is got colors and different shapes and symbols. I don't know if I can get a good look at. Let me try to hold up. So you can see this is top room tile here. There's on the right here. There's yellow, red, and green. Those are the different item types, and I'm trying to get it so it's not necessarily in the light. But there you can see there's symbols in there to, so if you're having an issue with the colorblind, there are symbols as well to help with that. The artwork in the game is absolutely stunning. I mean, look at this box. Look at this art. And I was showing you some of the other artwork on there. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. It's dark. The miniatures are just, I'm going to show you some. So here's the queen. This is with the, what do you call it? It's sun-dropped. So there is that kind of, I don't know what you call it. It's been treated, primed, washed, whatever, to show a little bit more detail. And then there's just a ton of, now they're a lot smaller in this game. These are the adults. They're a lot smaller. And let me just show you. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of aliens. Okay. So they're smaller because there's a lot more on the board. So that's, I mean, I like just, here's a handful of adults right here. And I still got another handful plus more, plus all the drones and the queen. And then there's little larvae, the little larva babies. Let's see if I can get that in there nice and close to look at. I can't see. This setup is not really good for this, but yeah, the little larva baby. So there's a bunch of those, and they're all very detailed, and they just look great. And what I'm impressed with is, see if I can. I don't think all the adults are identical. They might be. Maybe they are. I don't think they are though. Yeah. See, like, well, if I can show a difference, the way his tail is, like this guy's arched up. He's kind of walking forward. The way these guys are standing are like they're not all the same. So I've got just right here, I got 3 different adults, different adult models here. So they didn't just like, oh, you got a bunch, they're gonna all be the same. There are some differences in here. Like here's one where he's kind of hunched down, you know. So it's like there's a variety despite the amount of minis of the adults. All right, so let's talk about some gameplay. What is the goal of the game? To complete the mission task, complete your private goal, get off that facility alive, and then pass a contamination check to win. No, it's anybody that, as long as that mission task is completed, then as long as you complete your private goal and you get off alive and you weren't contaminated, then everybody that done that has won, right? So your win conditions are individual. The gameplay, I talked about this earlier. It's advertised 2 to 3 hours to play. Yes, that is pretty accurate. If you've got a group that knows how to play or has played a couple times, it will help you fall into that category. If it's the first time you've played, or you got to teach people how to play the game, I would expect about 4 hours, maybe 4 hours or more. Last night we played for 4 hours. That included 45 minutes of teach. So we had about 3 hours and 15 minutes. We actually didn't get to finish our game because the store was closing. So we had to cut it short, but we were pretty close. We were probably within maybe 2 rounds of hopefully getting everybody off. Yeah, I would expect about 4 hours. And then there's a pretty good, probably about a half hour of setup total to this game. So there's a lot to it. Some interesting information. This is the 3rd game in the Nemesis series, but you don't have to have played any of the previous ones. Each of the Nemesis games is designed as a standalone in the Nemesis universe. Nemesis is often called Alien the board game. It's kind of got that name. And it best represents that ominous feeling of the original Alien movie. Retaliation could be called Aliens the board game, as this version throws so many aliens at you, just like the second movie did. It's like this ramps up, and you know, I would consider this one like basically Aliens the board game. And if you liked Aliens the movie, you know how good that movie was, and it's fantastic. All right, so let's jump into some pros and some cons, and then my final thoughts. Um, the pros: this game is full of quality. The rule book is gorgeous. The minis are incredibly detailed. The room tiles, the character cards, everything in this is top quality. Even in the base version of the game, you can even upgrade your cardboard components to acrylic tiles to bling it out even more if you wish. This game is intense. If you have played Nemesis games before, you know the tension of an intruder hunting you down while you are low on ammo, or maybe you're even out of ammo and you don't have a way to fight back besides the almost useless melee attack. But this game ramps up the tension with lots of intruders. I mean, they can drop from the ceiling 4 or 5 at a time. The queen is even harder to kill than in the previous games, and you can quickly find yourself outnumbered even after your very first turn in this game. Now, another pro is you will have more ammo in this game than in previous titles, but you're going to need all of it. You can still run low on ammo, but not as quickly as in previous titles. You might think that this will make the game easier, but it only allows you a fighting chance with the hordes of intruders that you're going to face. Tactical items are now in this game, and they make the game more of an action game than a horror suspense game like the previous titles. You will get things like grenades, you have med packs, you have ammo clips that you can carry, you also have oxygen that you can carry. And you're going to have to monitor oxygen because the facility at the start of the game, there's no life support turned on. You're going to have to find the life support rooms for each of the 3 sections. The game is divided into sections A, B, and C. And you're going to have to find the rooms for each section to turn life support on so that you can go off your personal oxygen because your personal oxygen is limited. You don't run out of oxygen or the lights are out for you. Another thing about this is this has amazing table presence. Like any other Nemesis game, but this one really ramps it up with the way that the board is built in a tile action, and you're building tiles out. So it's not just the set board. So you have the tiles and you're connecting rooms, and it's always going to be different. It's, it won't be in the other 2 games. There's a board and it's always the same. You're always, your corridors and everything are there. Here, you're putting corridors out and rooms out based on these cards that you draw, which is going to tell you place a specific type of tile, either an A, B, or a C tile or a question mark tile. And then it's going to show you which way that the corridors are going to branch off. And so your map basically going to be changing every single time you play, which is really cool. I had several people walk up to us. Hey, what is this? And I had someone walk up who's familiar with the original game. And they're like, oh man, what this is the new one? And what do you think? And this looks amazing. And so it definitely has a table presence, and especially when this one guy walked up last night, we had probably 30 aliens on the board plus the queen. It was we were in a crazy spot at that moment. And yeah, so it has great presence. All right, so to the cons, and these are not necessarily, it's hard. I don't really feel like there's any cons, but I got to always find something, right? But there's a lot of setup, but it's the same as previous Nemesis games. I think there's more setup in this one than previous, just because you're putting pieces of the outer board, like the framework, together. I think there's a few more things that you've got to do. You're setting up, you got to shuffle tiles and corridor tiles and things like that, which you don't have in the other games. So there is more of a setup. There is a lot, but it's expected. I mean, that's, if you've played Nemesis, you understand that. So, but there is a lot of setup in this game. There's a lot of stuff in this box, and the game can be tough to learn for newer players, and even veterans. I'll talk about that in a minute, but newer players there's a lot going on. And there were people who had played previous games, not a lot, just maybe 1 or 2, but there were some things that had changed. And so it was kind of throwing some of the players off. And I was like, no, I had to kind of keep going over some things because it was like, I'm like, yeah, it changed from the previous. But, it can be tough for newer players to learn. all of the different things that are going on. But it's worth it, okay? This is a con worth dealing with. All right. Also, there are some significant changes from the previous games that can confuse even veteran players. Like, for example, noise rolls act differently in this game than previous. You're going to be rolling for noise just about every time you move, even if you move into a room with another player already there. Like previous games, if you moved into a room where someone was, you didn't make noise. Well, in this game, you are overloaded with equipment and gear, and we're stomping around. We make a lot of noise. We're very loud Marines, and we're making a ton of noise. So there's very few times that you will not be making noise rolls. And I know we had to sit and take a time out for a few minutes and be like, wait a minute, like, because we were getting like, it was like hard in my own head, like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to. But again, this changes those rules. And it was like, okay, when do we do noise rolls or when do we not do noise rolls? Basically, you're always going to do a noise roll. So very few instances where you may not. Once I kind of like, okay, took the moment and kind of got that in my head, then all right, I got it going forward. So, but again, there's some things that even veteran players some things are going to change about how this game is played compared to previous. So that can be a con for veteran players. And then the last thing I got is your first game can probably run over 4 hours with a teach. It's a 2 to 3 hours, and I think that's fair if there's no teaching. 2 to 3 hours. Like I said, we did 4 hours. We had 45 minutes of a teach. So we had 3 hours and 15 minutes into the game, and we didn't finish because we ran out of time because the store was closing. So we probably would have needed another 45 minutes. So we would have needed about 4 hours of playtime, I think, to complete the game. But again, it was a first time. So if we go back and if I get the same group and we play again, I think we could probably be under that 3 hours, not including setup time. Setup takes about probably a good 30 minutes. So if you're going to play, you're going to want to have it set up, at least the board setup done before the players arrive. And that's kind of another, I guess, kind of a con is there's player drafting and things that happen once everyone's arrived, then you go through the player setup and you can't do any of that before they show up. So, all right. I'm going to jump into my final thoughts. I fell in love with Nemesis during my very first time playing it. I have loved replaying Nemesis and loved the sequel Lockdown, which changed the environment from a spaceship to a base on Mars. There were minor changes in that game, and having the choice between the two, I would stick to the originals. It just gives that alien vibe so well. Retaliation is Aliens, the movie, right? And that is awesome. More intruders, more action, more excitement, more tension, more decisions, more stress, and more love for this franchise. Having the choice between all three games, I would personally pick Retaliation every time. I love that this game allows for more action, more shooting, no limits on the amount of times a room can be searched, just some of the small quality of life changes that they've done to the game. There have been some great tweaks and updates to the overall gameplay to allow for a lot more gunplay. The danger is still there. Taking out 6 intruders in a corridor is so exciting, and you look forward to burst shots over fighting them in the same room. Fights in the corridors make the intruders more vulnerable, so you can feel like a badass taking out a horde and saving your friends and yourself from certain death. This game is an amazing finale to this franchise. It keeps the tension and horror of the original game, but improves overall gameplay by allowing for more intense battles, more stressful decisions, more of that overall just feeling of helplessness as you are being cut off from escape. If you can only have one Nemesis game and you prefer a slower, more suspense-filled game, I say get original Nemesis. If you want a more action-packed game, then get Retaliation. No matter what, you will have an amazing time. And when you all die to the intruders, or due to that one teammate who stabbed you all in the back by setting off the self-destruct and hopping into the escape shuttle, you're still going to want to play the game again. And you will remember that time that you played. Nemesis Retaliation continues that tradition of not just creating a game for you to play, but for you to play an experience that you won't soon forget. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I do ask that you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you'll never miss any new content. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to share your comments below, and we'll see you at the table.